Guys, welcome back to Rodder's Garage. Today, our project is this 1965 J-300 Jeep Gladiator pickup truck. Let's see what we have to work with here. Yeah, so someone swapped this one out to a 300 straight 6 Ford engine. Actually has some junkyard writing on the valve cover here. It's a 1980 Ford 300 cubic inch straight 6 Ford. Got a brand new carburetor on it. I already looked at this a little bit before, and there's a bunch of vacuum lines that are on here wrong. The choke doesn't work. It does need a tune-up. Here's the mechanical choke cable. This one is vacuum, and they have it running right into the intake. That's not going to work. It's just going to hold it open. So that's going to be some stuff we're going to address here shortly. Gas tank strap, brake pads, hardware, brake shoes, box of miscellaneous, and tailgate. And we also have a rear bumper. So the actual requested list on what I should be doing on this thing is fairly short. We're going to start off with all the brakes, all new wheel cylinders, hardware, and shoes on all 4 corners of the truck. Then we're going to run all new brake lines right up to the master cylinder, which the master cylinder has already been replaced on it a short time ago. I do not have a clutch master or slave cylinder. I actually just ordered those. The slave cylinder is leaking down on the bottom. He thought it was going to be okay. I lifted this thing up in the air once already just to do a quick inspection. Slave cylinder is leaking. We're doing both. We're going to do the master and the slave. We'll probably even bend a new line on it, make sure everything's clean and good for years of service to come. So brakes first, that's what we're going to be focusing on first, and then after that, actually I take that back, we're going to do brakes second. We're going to do the gas tank first, the fuel tank. Right now it's currently hanging on one strap, the other strap is here on the floor, and there is nothing connecting the filler neck to the fuel tank underneath. So we're going to seal that up first, just in case I got to use the torch to remove any bolts or anything under the bottom and the back for the wheel cylinders or anything like that. So let's get this thing up in the air. Oh, and if you haven't noticed, there's a motorcycle in the bed. Let's pay no attention to that. Good enough. There. That's a lot better. Alright, let's go make some new straps. Well, actually we can only do one because the tank is shaped differently in the front. We'll start with the back, see what we can make happen. Now we can assemble the rest of this stuff. Here's my painted pieces from yesterday. And hopefully I can get this ring over this rubber filler neck. I think I can. No problem. All right. All right, guys, well, that fuel tank is mounted in. Filler neck is all good to go along with the vent line. That's pretty much wrapped up. We got a good distance between the drive shaft now. I like it. Turned out good. So I'm going to go ahead and whack all this original exhaust off, throw it right in the garbage. We're going to start over with 2 1/4 inch pipe. I also got a bunch of wiring under here. One of the other things on the list of things to do here is get the taillights working. And look at that menagerie of butt connectors coming out of the taillight section. So what I'm going to do, just to make life easier, is cut that off there. Here's our taillight harness. The rest of this is going. There, that's one tailgate installed. Looks pretty good. Good. There. Good. Pretty gross. I'd say it was a good thing to change this unit out for sure. All right, exhaust. Yeah, go 50 inches right off the bat. Whoa, that was close. Let's bend another piece. Good. Perfect. So yellow is the running light and blue and orange are going to be our turn signals. Not determined what one is what yet though. Let's turn the turn signal on. And it did come on here in the dash, if you can see that. That's a good sign. And the other one comes on as well, as you can see. So let's turn this one on and go back up in the air and go test those other two wires. See if we have power on one of those. And we do. Perfect. So orange is right turn, green is left. Awesome. Alright guys, well that pretty much wraps up the wiring up under here. Got it all done up and grounded off to the side rail coming up to the front. I saw this earlier yesterday when I was putting on the slave cylinder for the clutch that the plug was actually broke off the pressure switch here for the brakes. I went ahead and put two connectors on there, new connectors, shrink wrapped it up top. And as you can see, the brake lights do work on it, so we know that's going to all work out. I couldn't really test the switch yet because the brakes aren't hooked up yet, so hydraulically we don't know if the switch works. But we do know that the brake light circuit works going back to the taillight. So let's let this thing down quick and just verify the turn signals and the running lights. Running lights? Alright guys, let's swap out this clutch master. Oh, maybe not. Gotta hold them on the inside apparently. Wow, that's kind of bogus. Alright, well we're gonna need a little help with that. Alright, now we'll just have to loosen that master up. And that should come off the rest of the way. Alright, go ahead. Whoops. Does the master come off? All right, good deal. All right guys, so we left off a couple of days ago putting that master cylinder on for the clutch here on the old Jeep J-300, and I finally got my brake hoses in for all three brake hoses, the front two wheels and the rear line going to the rear axle. And I unboxed them this morning and I don't think they're gonna work. They're for this truck, and I think the front hoses are gonna be about 8 inches shorter than what we actually need to finish this thing up. So we might have to move some brackets because at this point, basically, I don't have any more time. I'm not gonna be messing around leaving this thing sitting here for another 3 weeks. So let's get this thing up a little bit more, pop the front wheels, and see exactly how much short these front two hoses are, and if we can move the brackets on the frame and just extend the brake lines. That's another kind of crappy thing too. I already did the brake lines and ended them where the factory brackets were, so if we got to move the brackets down for these new hoses, we're also going to have to make those lines longer. All right, well, as you can tell, we got the wheels back on. I had some help for a little bit here and we decided to go ahead and bleed the brakes. We got all four corners bled. Also bled the clutch out on the thing. Got my wheels on, center caps, all that good stuff. Clutch down there seems to be working pretty good. It's got a good amount of throw on the slave cylinder. You really can't see it right now, but that all seems to be in order. Once we were done with that, I hooked up the battery and I rolled this thing over, because when I picked it up, he said it quit running for him. So we went ahead and started turning it over. We had fuel coming up through the carburetor, but it would not start, or even kick for that matter. So we went ahead and checked spark, and there was actually no spark on it. Now, he did tell me it wouldn't start for him, and that would be why, because there was no spark. The way this is set up here, they basically have this old CDI box or ignition box for the straight six Ford, and they're powering it from the original wiring harness out of the Jeep. And right here, as you can see, I got some tape on this section. There was about 3 different wires sticking out of that and a spade connector that was causing no power over here to our ignition system. So I went ahead and cut all the nonsense out and soldered this connection, these 2 wires here. This is actually the power coming in, orange going to the CDI box, and this one over here heading back into the harness to power something else, I would imagine. So we got spark back, and I went ahead and hit it again. Obviously, we were messing around with it, and it did fire up and ran absolutely terrible. Now, I was over looking at the carburetor after that, and they had a bunch of vacuum lines that were just not routed right, leaking all over the place. They had a straight vacuum line 3/8 going over here to the choke. That's not the way that works. That needs more to the system than just a vacuum line going to the choke itself. So we just eliminated all of that, and I adjusted the choke so it's all the way open right now. So no choke. The right way to go about it would probably be just get an electric conversion kit, stick it on here, put some 12 volts to it off the ignition or accessory, and that would be the easiest way to go about that, because we don't have a heat rise or anything here on the intake to operate that choke. So we're set up on that. I went ahead and pulled the spark plugs too, and they were fuzzy, loaded right up and rich. So I went ahead and wire wheeled all 6 spark plugs real quick, check the firing order, that's all right, and you can see we're nice and shiny now. This is my last plug, I got the other 5 in. So we're gonna roll this one in number 1. Put the number 1 plug wire back on, and we should be ready to start this thing again. Hopefully it runs a little better. Let's see what happens with some cleaned up spark plugs. Make sure we're in neutral. Oh wow, that's a lot better. Yeah, it runs really good. It's quiet. Not bad. I did not put it in gear yet. Let's see what happens. Should be towards us and up for the 3 on the tree. Let it out slow. Oh yeah. Oh, perfect. That clutch is a little bit sticky. I think I can use a bigger return spring down on the pedal, but it's working. Well, let's back this thing up off the hoist real quick. Probably should see if the brakes work as well. Yeah, brakes work. That's pretty much it for the work for me, but let's take this thing outside and give it one spin around the block and give it a little test drive, see how it actually reacts on the street, make sure those brakes work good at a little bit higher of a speed than here in the shop. We might have to adjust them a little bit more, but they do feel like they work quite well. So let's close this thing up, fire it up, take it for a little cruise. All right guys, now we're gonna go for that ride. It's actually been a couple of days since I was gonna jump in it and take it around the block, but we got together, the owner and I, of the J-300, and he decided he wanted a couple more things done. I put an electric choke on it because it did not have that. I think I showed you guys that earlier, but I did put electric choke on the carburetor, got all that set up, and then out back, because we couldn't fit that bumper on it that he wanted, I actually made a roll pan for back here, which actually, I like it. It turned out pretty nice. It's better than just leaving it open, I guess. He figured he'll probably just leave it like that. I think the idea is he's just gonna black the whole truck out here coming up here this summer. So we just did the roll pan deal, and yeah, I think that looks pretty good like that. So anyway, let's get in this thing now and go for a test drive around the block, make sure it runs decent, steers good, and stops. To be honest with you guys, this thing drives pretty nice. Steering seems tight. All right, now let's try to run it through the gears and make sure it shifts through all three. First, we gotta turn here though. We'll wait. We'll wait. All right, first. Second. Third. Little grind in the third. All right, brake check. Oh yeah. Perfect. Not too bad. All right, well, the test drive went pretty well the other day, and I'm happy with it, and he's obviously gonna finish up the rest of the stuff here on the Jeep. He's actually here today right now to pick it up. I loaded all the parts back in it. The choke seems to be working great. I did mess with that a little bit and set the high idle a little bit differently, and seems to work really well. So this is it. It is going home, leaving the shop. Yeah, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.